Hello and welcome to the Imperfect Image Podcast. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Ashley.
Yes, she's still Ashley. That's good. Ashley's at work right now, which is really fun.
Yes, I am. Yeah, it's a wonderful day to be alive in Ashley's land.
So this recording is being brought to you both by Airdrie and downtown Calgary.
Oh, the modern technology marvels.
It is actually kind of cool, hey? I mean, you could be anywhere in the world, I could be anywhere, and we could record the same show together.
Absolutely. And I think we're getting a little bit better at doing it, even though we're not in the same room, because I just remember the first time being super, super awkward. So,
well, and it's hard
high
to
five
not,
for us.
like just now, it's hard to not jump over each other.
Yeah, exactly. But we do that a little bit in person anyway, so we just have to keep it going.
Just keep it going. Keep the relationship flowing.
Oh, yeah.
So what's new?
Well, just living the dream at work. Work's been absolutely all-encompassing lately. We are still
like it.
Down to half staff, so
the fact that
I go to work and then I'm pretty drained.
The fact that we have to do a recording on your lunch hour means that you're way too busy.
I know you were asking about time this week, and I was just laughing. Like, yeah, that's not really a great idea.
Well, and I've got at least one other thing set up, so if we can't get this done, I think I can get a guest, maybe 2 shows. So if you're insanely busy, we can make it work.
Awesome. Well, that's good. So
and then it's
I'm
not
bridging
just
the gap
me.
here for the next while.
Yeah, and it's not just me recording sad-ass podcasts about things that people probably don't want to hear, but fuck it, they're stuck hearing anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this works good just because, we're only getting this opportunity because you're home from work early, so
yes,
we have to make a lot of things happen to get this going.
Yeah. Well, and I've got some good feedback from the solo podcast, too, so much better than the solo movie. Zing.
Zing, zing.
You saw that, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw the movie.
And you thought it was fine?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
See, I could go see it.
I'm not a real Star Wars fan.
No, but people get too obsessed about the one, genre or trilogy or whatever, and they just can't stand anything that's not the pure trilogy or whatever. Like, come on, just enjoy the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's exactly what happened for people that didn't like it. But, hey, for me, I kind of went in blank slate, and I thought this was one of the better ones, just for keeping my interest level and actually letting me follow the story.
Well, and that's something that they might end up accidentally doing, is making movies that more people can enjoy,
yeah,
and not just the true fans. I think that's what Marvel's done. Like, I didn't love Black Panther, but I think a big part is because I'm such a Marvel fan.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It didn't fit the feel to me, but so many people loved it.
Yeah, the reception of that movie was insane. I never did see it, but
No?
Everyone was raving about it. No, I missed that one.
See, and I think my review was, I don't know what everyone was raving about. It was a fine movie, but it wasn't an amazing movie by any means.
Right.
Says me.
Yeah, it's weird.
Okay.
I know what else is new.
Oh, what else is new?
Well, it's about 1 week away now until life gets even crazier for 10 days because the Calgary Stampede is here. Woo!
Oh, the Calgary Stampede. Howdy, y'all. Yeah, well,
for me, that's
I was going to say life gets crazy for you. It doesn't get crazy for everybody.
Being a downtown Calgary worker, I think I'm trying to think. I definitely have 3 or 4 parties.
Yep.
I have a rodeo with work.
Yep.
And then this year, my dad and Delphine are coming out.
Oh, hell.
For the last weekend of Stampede. So we're all going to do rodeo and Chucks as a family.
That's awesome.
I've got a couple Coke Stage concerts I want to go to.
What's
a couple other little events. So yeah, it gets busy.
What's the other concert?
And of course, this is Brad's first Stampede, so he's excited. Our Lady Peace.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
What day is that?
Yeah, it'll be good. It's on Tuesday.
Oh, I'm not seeing that. It was
Yeah, I didn't even think of asking you on a work night. I'm like, there's no way he'd come in for Our Lady Peace on a work night.
no, and everything always starts so late. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, that's the good thing about where I live. Being like a 10-minute walk from Stampede, I can still be home from a Coke Stage concert and in bed at a decent time. But I mean, we get the fireworks every night from my house. So, I mean, I don't know that I go to bed early during Stampede because it sounds like gunshots going
Yeah.
off. I do sleep like I'm dead, so I'm okay usually, but I kind of like watching them, so.
You know what?
So yeah, it'll be busy.
That might be the best time to murder someone in Calgary. No one hear the gunshots.
I think you're on to something.
Maybe that's why you love the Stampede so much. You're just out committing your yearly murders. 10 days of murders.
It's my version of The Purge.
There's a new Purge movie, hey?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's, because I think this would be 3 or 4. I just can't
Three,
believe
I
can't believe that became a thing.
I kind of can, though. Conceptually, It makes sense.
I guess.
People love that kind of shit.
Again, I don't understand why, but whatever. There's just things in life that I don't enjoy. I don't enjoy being scared. I don't enjoy being depressed. I don't enjoy hot needles in my eyes. They all meld together for me, and I avoid them.
You know, you're interesting because you do actually make a list of things you don't like and avoid them. A lot of people don't like things and still find a way to do them anyway. You're pretty good about that.
What the fuck is wrong
with
you
people? You don't
do that. If I don't enjoy something, I'm not going to go for it. No, you people make no sense to me.
We're all just masochists. We like the pain.
Yeah. There's different podcasts for that. Oh, did I tell you Dr. Bob that was doing the Conquer Stress, Anxiety, and Depression podcast has just stopped the whole thing?
He's cut it? Oh, yeah. Really? No, why?
Well, we had the website going, and I was going to be one of the coaches on that, but no one was getting any business. And we got an email saying, hey guys, I've put a lot of money into this and time, and it's not really getting anywhere, so it's time to reevaluate. And then everything stopped. I didn't realize the podcast had stopped because I just get notifications when the ones I listen to get a new episode. And I just hadn't realized that there wasn't a new episode for a while. And if I felt like looking at it right now, I think it was maybe April that the last one came out. So, too bad.
It's funny because it often takes a while to notice those things, right?
Oh, totally, yeah.
I mean, especially when you're as sporadic as us, our faithful listeners are probably wondering, when might we get a post? But it's like Christmas every time one pops up, right? I mean, that's exciting.
I understand that side, but I'm also going to this is my role now, is to try to get these out more regularly.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Thank you.
I hear you. Schedule is a good thing. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, and this is my hobby. This is the thing I like putting together and recording and trying to do the itinerary for the episode and collecting my thoughts on movies and all that stuff. So it's really my downfall when it doesn't come out.
Yeah.
So
well, you're the one, like you said, doing all the extra work and actually publishing it, and that has some time to it as well. So no, I mean, once a week is good if you can get it done. I'm sure people would appreciate that.
And then on my other podcast, my professional one, I am actually going to start with an apology because I missed the week, but it was partly because the internet was down at home and then partly because we went camping and I just couldn't do it. There was no possible way.
I think that segues into our next segment, which was the camping/birthday trip.
Yes. That is our next segment. Good segue.
It's almost like we rehearsed that.
We didn't rehearse that. I was actually
We're not that good.
I was just going to plug my other podcast, but you just ripped that in two.
Yeah, right? I'm like, focus on us. Come on now.
Fuck you and your professional podcast. You're never going to make money off this, you piece of shit. Who would listen to your advice? All you do is drink all day. Speaking of,
That's awesome.
I'm not drinking for a couple of days.
Taking a break, are you, after the weekend?
Taking a break. Yeah, this episode is being brought to you by Strawberry Watermelon Crystal Light.
Yes, and since I'm at work, I can't drink either. So yeah, this is a rare no alcohol podcast.
Until Stampede, and then you can drink, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. Then it's a bit different.
So that's actually a better segue, because we drank our faces off all weekend, or at least I did, because we were camping.
For your birthday, and Travis's birthday.
And Travis's birthday. And my mom's, but she wasn't there.
Did you invite her?
No, God no. Well, I always tell her she can come out for a day or something, and she did to Crimson that one time, but I don't think she has any desire sitting there and watching us drink and be idiots.
Yeah, that's probably not fun after a certain age.
No, I don't. Well, for her, I don't think that was ever fun.
If you're not going to drink and be one of the idiots as well, it's not fun. Well, even if the drinkers think it is.
It sounds like her and my dad used to go out with, the friends and that and get pretty sloshed, but she just doesn't do it anymore.
Maybe we'll all have that story to tell one day.
I certainly hope that I enjoy drinking less one day. That would be fantastic. Very good health choice.
Yeah, exactly. It's not one of those things you can really mourn because it's good for you.
You know what, though? I had a really good chat with one of my coworkers today who will go unnamed. They were just saying they're not saying they're never drinking again, but they're not going to for a while. Like, take 30 days off or so. And I went, that's the right attitude. Because I hate, more than most things, which I hate a lot of stuff, I hate when people say they're going to give up on something that they actually really enjoy. So
I hear you.
That really enjoy wine and really appreciate it. Maybe they drink too much of it and too often, but they do enjoy it. And then they just say, I got to stop drinking. Well, you can't just, and I've said this to people a million times now, probably not a million, that's a big number, but quite a few times. You don't just give up on stuff. Like, people are far too all or nothing, right? So I'm either going to exercise 2 times a day for 2 hours, 7 days a week, or I'm going to sit on my couch and become obese. Like, there's no in between where, okay, I'm going to exercise at the times that I feel like exercising, and then I'm going to sit around when my body needs to sit around. They just go crazy with one or the other. So I'm either never going to drink again, or I'm going to buy a bottle of rum every freaking night and down it, and that's my life.
Yeah, we like to live in extremes generally, but that doesn't really work, like, in terms of what we say.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, and that goes to the whole rhythm of this podcast. Like, you don't have to, just be a Star Trek fan or a Star Wars fan. You don't have to just like blue or yellow. Like, you can enjoy many different things. You don't have to just be an alcoholic or a fucking saint. Neither of those is necessarily going to work for you.
Yeah, because I think what we've always found a bit interesting about one another is that we're not necessarily exactly what you would expect from what you even just said. Like, I mean, you can be a trainer, and you've talked about this many times in many different ways, being a trainer and having a few drinks. Those can both be the way that it is.
Definitely.
I could work for oil and gas, and that can just be my day job. It doesn't have to define anything about me when I leave.
So you're
and I don't think it does.
You're still allowed to drive a smart car then?
Yeah, if I wanted to. Exactly.
But I just don't want to. I just love my truck, bro.
Or, just drive as little as possible. Whatever it is.
You're boring.
No, not really.
You gotta gas. Fucking just get the gas in the truck. That's what you gotta do. We live in Alberta. Come on, woman.
I just have no need to drive. It's a beautiful thing.
It's because your man drives you now.
Well, there is that. I am chauffeured a lot lately. Actually, it's funny. I drove home from your house last night, and I always once in a while do, because I'm like, I need to practice.
Yeah.
Because I really don't need to drive that often. And now when we're going somewhere together, generally he will drive most of the time. Mm-hmm. So it's like I'm driving even less often than I was before. So Happy to report I still know how to do it.
Well, that's nice. I'm glad to hear. Everyone, Ashley still knows how to drive, she thinks.
Yay.
So back to
So
camping.
tell me about the favorite part of your camping trip.
You know what I really liked about this one was from the moment everyone got there, they were excited to see each other. And when we left, we were still excited to see each other. There wasn't any...
Yeah.
Not that we have shitty moments in camping trips, but I think you just get a little... I need to have my own time. But it seemed like everybody just, popped out, cooked a meal by themselves, came back, joined by the fire. We were saying last night when we had dinner, there's no... In this group now, there's no... Everyone has to be together every second. We just kind of come and go as we please. If you want to sit around the fire for a while, or some of us played some games, not everybody has to play the game. Everybody's comfortable doing their own thing too.
Yeah, and I think that comes from level of comfort and continuously spending time together. And
For sure.
I agree that that's a wonderful thing. And I think you're right. That's probably why at the end of a weekend together, everybody parts and, they don't feel ready to part. They're just like, yeah, it was a great time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I don't feel as much of a sadness leaving camping anymore, because I know, you're coming home, back to your routine, your bed, those sorts of things, where I think previously it was more, oh shit, I could do this forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
My body also can't take all that shit anymore. I only had one smoky all weekend, I think, but just with drinks and this and that, I just can't do it. My stomach was a mess.
Too much.
Too much.
I was okay. The couple mornings I woke up, I wasn't feeling amazing, but I think part of it is I don't really drink that much.
Yeah.
So the older I get, it doesn't take much for me to not feel amazing anymore. So I agree with you. You've
either got to drink a whole bunch more or learn to pace yourself when you do.
Exactly.
I like the first option.
I kind of have that sweet spot of 1 to 2 drinks, which, as you've seen in my house, I have so much alcohol that makes it really easy.
Yes.
But, I mean, I don't want to drink a ton all the time. I eat enough food. I don't need the drinking calories. Let's put it that way.
See, and it's funny because when I tell people about my nutrition, it's the exact opposite. So I manage my calories in different ways, and some people wouldn't like it, but most mornings I don't eat breakfast till 8, 9 o'clock, and that's me getting up at 4 a.m. So I don't do the thing anymore where I go, oh my God, I gotta eat breakfast as soon as I get up. I just eat when I'm hungry in the morning. And even sometimes I'll push it an hour or two just so I don't keep consuming more and more and more calories. Like, my body has enough stores, I could starve for a couple days. That's fine. Mm-hmm. And most people's bodies do. I just don't think we believe that. We're very good at taking advice that's convenient for us. So if people say, you got to eat 6 small meals a day, that sounds really good. And if someone says you need to starve yourself for 10 hours every day, we don't like that, because one is comfortable and one's not. I'm not saying one's better than the other, not by any means. It's just this is what works for me, because I do have a tendency to consume a few more calories at night than I should in, a normal structure. So I just compensate by not eating as much in the morning. It actually works really well for me. I maintain a normal weight. I don't fluctuate a ton. It's good.
And see, and I totally agree with you, because I found my best success, it's never been to follow any sort of prescribed plan or listen to any sort of specific details and do this, don't do that. It's simply been eat when I'm hungry, stop before I'm stuffed.
Yep.
And don't eat for the wrong reasons. And when I can really do that, solid gold. Your body knows what it needs, and that's what you're doing in the morning. If you're not hungry when you wake up, don't eat.
Yep.
I believe in that principle. I know, lots of people want to argue you got to get your metabolism going. And I mean, I believe in the concept of breakfast overall, but you know what? If you wait to have your breakfast because you're not hungry, I see no problem with that.
The point being, just if it works for you, go for it. And
Exactly.
it actually has to work for you though, because too many times we just say, "Oh, I do this because it works for me," and it's actually ruining us. Like,
Right.
drinking 3 bottles of rum every night works for me. No, it doesn't. That's stupid.
Yeah, no matter how many times you tell yourself it works for you, it doesn't.
Yeah. Oh, cheating on my wife really works for me, even though I'm a complete fucking emotional wreck. It still works for me. Like, no, you're just a greedy dick.
Yeah, exactly.
What else did you enjoy about camping? Was there a game or anything that you really enjoyed?
I think I was pretty relaxed this camping trip in
Yep.
terms of being active all the time with a game here or cards there.
Mm-hmm.
I just think I was really, really vegging out. And maybe that's just partially because work has been busy. Like, I mean, I know Brad and I had like a 3 hour nap on Saturday, and
Yeah,
I
that was impressive.
never, ever get that at home.
No.
And I think, and you had said kind of the opposite. You wanted to enjoy all the time, and I totally get both. I think for me, it's just like camping slows me down where I realize I don't have anywhere better to be. I don't have anything I have to do. If I want to have a nap, I can. Whereas when I'm at home, I feel guilt for a nap,
Yeah.
or I just don't have the time. So, I mean, it was just little things like that. I thought the weather was really quite pleasant. We were never really overly
No,
hot.
it
We
wasn't
didn't really get
sweltering.
rained on. I enjoyed the cooking this time.
Yep.
Everything was good. It was
Yeah, it
just a
was just a
nice,
nice
chill
trip.
weekend.
When you were talking about naps, I was gonna take a nap on either Friday or Saturday, but I do get that. Oh, but I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying my time with my friends. I don't want to miss anything, and then I just
Yeah.
stay up. Where now at home, and especially in the summer because I don't work quite as much, I do go, okay, my body needs to rest. I'm going to take a
Hmm.
nap, which I'm going to do after we record here, and then I'm good for the rest of the day. It doesn't make me feel overly guilty. I still want to make sure I get everything else done, but fuck it, I need a rest.
Yeah, and sometimes we're just tired and we need that. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's good to give yourself permission. And you know what? If getting away camping lets me do that, then all the better. And
Oh,
I
for
definitely
sure.
found that.
Well, and if you don't feel like you're missing time with everybody or you're missing out on something, go for it. You need the rest. You never get it at home. I don't think you actually sleep at all. I think you're pretty much a zombie.
I'm a robot. I just run on coffee and smiles,
Obviously, you feed off people's smiles. That sounds like a
which is
Doctor Who
really, really
episode.
creepy.
I think I want to see that.
I don't know that you do. I'm not sure that you would.
No, I do. Although, unless there's clowns, I don't want to see that.
But I think it's a bit of what you said earlier, though, why you can just pop out and have a nap, right? Because I think, it's funny. We all had different tents set up, so there was the trailer. We all were doing our own thing for meals. So, yes, there's the coming together for visiting and campfire and some games or things like that. But, there was a lot of elements of that and then doing your own thing. And not everybody felt compelled to join for everything. Quite a few of us went out fishing, but not everybody came. And, quite a few of you played Settlers, but not everybody did. And it's like, there's options, right? And nobody's sitting there going, you have to do this, you have to do that. Because I think at a certain age, that just gets tiring.
Yeah. Well, and we were all couples this time, if you noticed.
Yeah, I did notice that. Actually, I talked about that with Brad on the way home. I said,
Right.
I don't know that there's ever been a time where we've all been in a couple
No.
like that because there's been a lot of fluctuations over the years in people's situations. So this was a weird element in that way. And I'm finding that more and more that it's like you kind of wake up and go, okay, we're adults now.
Yeah.
Like we have been for a while, but wow, it's really hit us now.
You know you were the last one to join that, right?
Well, I kind of was first to the table and then last to the table, if you know what I mean.
Touche. Yes, touche.
Yeah.
You took yourself a nice little break there.
Yes, I sure did. Yep. A longer break than most people ever take. But hey, you know what? It was exactly what I needed.
Yes, apparently it was. Everything's figured out. Ashley is about to get pregnant, and life is moving on.
Oh my gosh. Don't say things like that. My mom will be calling, like, hello?
Yeah, Cheryl, said to Ashley the other day something about, oh, you know, when you have kids, and she didn't say no right away. So things are leaning towards grandchildren.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny. I just responded in a really basic way, and you read into it deep.
Yeah, I did. That's what I do. I read into things. It's actually part of my job. I take the things that people say and turn it into what they actually mean. So
Yeah, that's
what
a
you
good point.
mean is tick, tick, tick. Here's my internal clock. Babies, babies, babies. And Brad, if you're hearing this, good time to start trying.
Oh
I like
man,
that
you are trouble.
our audience is so small. I can speak to everyone individually. Hi, Sarah and Lucas. Hi, Lauren. And we're done.
I know it's pretty true that almost everyone that actually downloads this could get a personal shout out.
Is this when we ask people to start recommending it to other people too? Is this when we do that? Like we do every
Yeah, I think
episode?
it should. Yeah,
Okay.
and nobody seems to want to. Maybe we embarrass them.
Oh, I embarrass myself. No, I don't. You know
Yeah.
what? Something happened at work today, and I just thought, I don't get embarrassed anymore. It just doesn't matter. I'm done with embarrassment.
Which is a good place to be in.
It's not bad. You know what else is a good place to be in? Netflix. What's up
Yes,
on
it
Netflix for you?
is. Oh man. So I am really enjoying me some Netflix lately. I tell ya.
You know what's
And
even
not
better?
a,
Cable.
pardon me?
I said, you know what's even better is cable. Like your man was saying, let's get cable. And then you were like, no, I tell you what to do. And he was all like, okay.
The thing is fundamentally he agrees with me on the no cable because we haven't had it and he doesn't mind. But I understand when you love sports
Yes.
and you're looking ahead to sports seasons that there's just not a lot of other good options. So I mean, we'll
Well,
probably end up getting it for that alone. And then of course once you have it, you might start watching it. But I don't think I'll try to avoid getting a PVR because I think that's when I'm like, ooh, I could watch every show under the sun. And
yeah.
I don't need it because there's already so much content out there.
Yes.
I just don't care.
There's certain things that I want to watch at the time. There are
Yeah,
certain things I can watch seasons later.
sure.
And I probably could watch everything else. For me, the big thing is recording sports.
Yeah.
Yes, I know there's ways that you can stream it and you can record the video feed and all that stuff, but it's more complicated than I want. I want to click record, fucking game comes on, watch it later. That's it.
Sometimes that's all it's about. It's
Yeah.
not, I can't do this another way. It's, I don't want to.
No, exactly. I know there's another way to get around this, and it's too complicated for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm paying for
So,
convenience.
what I'm absolutely loving on Netflix right now is a show called The Staircase.
Yeah, what the hell is that? Because you told me about the other one, and then went, oh, by the way, P.S., The Staircase. I didn't
So
even
The
bother
Staircase
looking it up.
is actually the series I'm really focused on right now. We just started it. I think we're on episode 3 or 4. To
Yeah.
me, it's in the same genre as Making a Murderer.
Oh, really?
It's a true crime investigation. So true story, and it's basically a mini documentary series following a crime. And for some reason, nothing gets me more excited than that. I just like that. It interests me.
Yeah, I'm just looking at
So,
it on Netflix here, and it is very Making a Murderer. Mysterious death of his wife. Michael Peterson watches his life go under the microscope. Interesting.
well, and he is an author, so he was rich and somewhat famous, and so
Oh,
he can
okay.
pay for a good defense lawyer. I shouldn't say famous. None of us know who he is, but he's more famous than you or I.
Famous to
And
some people, yeah.
at this point, until our podcast blows up.
Oh, wow, there's a ton of these things you could watch. There's one
Are you
called The
seeing the
Keepers.
confession tapes?
What's that?
Are you seeing the confession tapes?
Yeah, there's that. Evil Genius, which I'll watch at some point. Wild Wild Country, I'll watch that at some point. But there's a lot of these real murder dealios.
Well, and one thing I had said to Brad, because we were jumping around a lot on series,
Yep.
we'd start one and then we'd start something else. I'm like, okay, let's just pick something and watch it because I tend to forget or I watch an episode or two, and then when I'm going to come back to it a few weeks later, I don't remember what happened. So that's where I'm at with Peaky Blinders, which I
Right.
think is on your list.
Yeah.
Is I saw a couple and I don't remember what's going on. So we're going to do the staircase, and I'm really, really hooked so far. Story is
Cool.
interesting, and yeah, maybe I should have been in some sort of forensic investigation because I love that.
You were in sociology. You realize that could transfer over.
Yeah, exactly. I was like 2 steps away. If only I'd done more schooling.
Instead, you're using super sleuth skills to get oil to you.
So I will just talk quickly about the other show I have, and then you can talk about yours.
Yep.
I had mentioned it's called The Break with Michelle Wolf.
And you said it's a
And
news show?
it's like The Daily Show in that it's basically a quick 20-minute news show with comedy built in.
Yeah.
And they do different segments. Michelle Wolf is a female comedian who I had never heard of, but I think it was the correspondence dinner that she kind of got some notoriety for because she was there and she, I don't know, offended a lot of people. I'm not sure what she said because I
Oh,
don't
this
follow
lady.
news.
Yep. Yep, that's
So
exactly what
yeah,
happened. She said something and pissed off a bunch of politicians.
perfect. So
Perfect.
glad I got that part right. No, I'm just happy that I actually somewhat didn't butcher that because
Yeah.
who knows in my world. So the first episode comes on and I'm 5 minutes in looking at Brad going, what the hell is this? Like, she's kind of not what you would expect at first. I didn't know how to take her. I wasn't sure what I thought about her style. Some of the jokes felt terrible, but as you watch it, I find it's kind of addictive. So I would say if you're going to give the show a try, get into a couple of episodes and just let yourself fall into the comedy because you find some gems in there at a certain point. It
Is
starts to
it...
get pretty funny.
Oh, I don't remember what I was going to say now. Huh.
But the good thing is so they premiere a new episode every Sunday.
I was just going to say, is it weekly?
It's weekly, yeah. So,
Cool.
I mean, it's super easy. You throw 20 minutes on once a week. It's a nice little distraction. She basically covers news from the last week. So the one last night, you're talking about Trump's new immigration, family separation policy. And, I mean, there were other things. I'd heard that some lady in Indonesia got eaten by a snake.
Yep.
That was on there, right?
Okay.
So it's recognizable news stories with humor injected into it.
Right.
And, yeah, she's not going to be for everybody. And like I said, some of the jokes I'm just like, oh my gosh. But if you kind of ride it out, I think overall the show is worth watching.
And I think sometimes you just get used to the comedy on a show, or you get used to the characters or whatever it might be. So if you stick with it for a while, it'll work.
Yeah, true. And for me, because I don't really watch or listen to a lot of news, I actually enjoy a bit of that delivery. And I was never someone who watched The Daily Show or anything like that, but maybe that would have been good for me because just listening to the actual news depresses me and isn't very fun. But, when you throw humor into it and you get a little bit of extra like social commentary, I really like that.
Two things about that. One, there was I don't know if it was a stat or a pseudo stat for a while that more Americans got their news from The Daily Show than from the actual news. So that's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
But
that is funny.
You know what some people's problem with those shows is? You get such a one-sided commentary on the news, right? But that's no different than the actual news. People always say, if you watch CNN, you get a very left view. If you watch Fox News, you get a very right view. There's a bias to a station and to the broadcasters. The station's going to hire the broadcasters, and they're going to hire them to fill up mold, right? So, I don't know. Fuck it. Watch whatever you want.
Exactly. So what are you doing these days on Netflix?
On Netflix, I'm still with a few things that I've been watching. I'm trying to go to my list right now. Home. So, Peaky Blinders, for sure. But I'm only, again, on like episode 5, I think. Because I get home from work, I'm tired. I put a show on. I end up falling asleep. That's an hour gone. Then I have to rewind, figure out where I was. So by the time I've watched a 40-minute show, it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So
It's almost over.
yeah, exactly. And then I just end up watching an episode twice because I don't remember what the hell happened. I'm still watching a bit of comedians in cars getting coffee, which has been good. It's almost done, so I'm trying to pace myself on the last few so it's not all at once and I never get to see it again. I'm watching a bit of Archer. I'm still finding that tough to get into, so that'll probably fade out. And then this one, Ugly Delicious. Have you heard of that one?
No, I haven't.
So let me go to its synopsis here. Of course it's not going to work for me. Nope, now it's just going to play the show. Anyways, Ugly Delicious is a chef, and it's not, how to make meals or anything like that. It's more about food culture, I guess.
Okay.
Like this last one was Chinese food and how Chinese food is not at all like North American Chinese food. And what I really liked on that one was they were talking about how in North America we're used to certain textures. It's not even flavors because the flavors are similar, but in China or somewhere like that, they're used to, slimy and chewy and those kinds of things. That's what they seek out. Here we seek out crispy or, mushy like mashed potatoes or something. They can't do that over there. So when they come over here and see our ginger beef or something like that that's crunchy, when we go over there and there's tendon, It's funny the different cultures in food. Like I'm going through the episodes here. The first one was pizza. That was neat, right? New York versus Neapolitan versus this versus that. So what's the best? Who thinks what's the best, etc. Tacos, home cooking, shrimp and crawfish. Barbecue was interesting. Fried chicken was really interesting. And this last one I watched was fried rice, which got into the whole Asian restaurants or Chinese restaurants in particular serving North American Chinese food, but also having kind of a sub-menu that no one sees, which is actual Chinese food. So when Chinese people come in, instead of us whiteys, they can get the things they're familiar with.
Right, yeah. Okay.
So that's a cool show. It's not your typical cooking show like I'm looking on here, Mind of a Chef, Chef's Table. Those ones are a little more about the dishes. This one's more about the culture.
So is there a host on that show?
Yeah. It just keeps telling me the same fucking thing.
Somebody non-recognizable or somebody famous?
David Chang.
Okay.
He's recognizable. If you watch the Food Network at all, you'll recognize him. But he's not, I don't know, fucking, what's his name? Bobby Flay. He's not that famous.
Okay.
He should be. He's very grumpy, and I like that. I like when people really put their feelings on the table.
Right.
I like when people are like me. That's what I like.
Yeah. It feels comfortable and safe.
Comfortable and safe.
This is what we're all looking for.
Ooh, Netflix, Cooking on High. What's this? In the first ever competitive cannabis cooking show, 2 chefs prepare mouth-watering marijuana-infused dishes for a panel of very chill celeb judges. Interesting.
It is interesting.
I might have to give that a shot. I was looking on
I
here
cannot.
to see... What's that?
I was just going to say, I cannot believe how much Netflix has upped their game over the last few years. Like, it's insane.
You know what makes me even more impressed is they make no money. They're in debt. It's just a constant debt machine.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard anything about them.
Well, they pick up all these shows, they make content, they make, millions of dollars worth of content, and as far as I've heard, really don't make any money.
So what does that say about its future, then?
I think it's a huge future. It seems like...
So?
It's almost like you don't need to make money to be successful. which is exactly the opposite of what I'm struggling with right now. I feel like I need to make money to be successful.
Yeah. Well, for those of us with bills to pay, that generally feels like the case. I get that.
There we go. That's going to be a segue. We're going to move to the last point and maybe come back to the second last point. So when I was talking about making money, work, etc., I'm trying to think, what the hell am I actually passionate about? Do I really want to be a trainer forever? Is there a different way I can be a trainer? How can I incorporate the things I like? How can I really be true to myself? And then I came up with this question, which I didn't tell you about, I don't think. The question is, what's going to be your legacy?
Silence. I don't know that I'm ready to get so emotional.
No, get on it. Please say being a mom.
No, we're going to make you satisfied and make you think you're onto something. But, that's a question that's interesting because for myself personally, I struggle between being defined by my work and not being defined by my work, in that my work has afforded me a lot of opportunity to live a very comfortable life, to have what I want in that regard, to travel.
You're loaded.
And so on, and, to have a successful career, but I don't necessarily identify with that. I don't want to be known as anything to do with my job, right?
Is that okay for you to say while you're downtown right now?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to find me and break my kneecaps, but I'll let you know afterwards if that happens.
Thank you.
But I mean, does everybody's legacy have to be tied to their career? I don't think so, right? And I mean, this may be more the case for you, and I know you're doing some soul searching in, what your work means to you, because I think your work is a more creative endeavor than mine, in that training means different things to different trainers. Your style could be your own. It is something you could take out and do as your own business, or you could adapt it or evolve. For me, if I'm going to work in oil and gas, I'm really just looking at what are my strategic career moves? How far do I want to go before my work-life balance goes totally in the garbage? So I think all I'm saying is I don't know that my legacy will ever be my career, even though while I'm here, having had Husky under my belt for most of my life is something I'm known for. I don't think I identify per se with it. So, I mean, that's an evolution for me. I think I want to focus more on the personal happiness side of things. So, what does that look like? It's always been travel. I've got my relationship now, which I'm very excited about and very happy about. So I think that is, for me, the career is set. Everything is normal there. I've had my solid friend group for years now. That's not, something that needs reevaluation. So I think it's just developing my relationship and seeing what effects that has in my life that I'm kind of focused on. But, I mean, is that a legacy? No, that's a strong word for any part of your life. I don't know how to define that.
I think that's where I'm struggling with this whole thing as well, is because it's not all about work, but my work is so hugely tied into the everyday for me. Such as a day like today where I only have 4 hours of work, I make very little pay. So it's always about pushing more, getting more out of it. Is there a way that I can put in less hours and make more money? And that sounds greedy, but what I'm saying is, on a busy day at work, I might get, say, 7 or 8 clients, which means that I'm there for 10, 11, 12 hours sometimes. I'm looking at condensing. How can I get paid for the hours that I'm not with a person, right? Absolutely. Or is there a way to change what I do so that I don't have to be with that person? It can be something on the internet. Can I reach people through something like a podcast that might be called Real Fitness for Real People? That would be possible. And would those types of things, or even this podcast, be something that could be a revenue stream at some point? Because I like doing this stuff. This is exciting for me, and it's my own thing. No one tells me what I put on these things and what I talk about. It's my own ideas and my own limitations, right? I try not to swear too much on that podcast because it's more professional. I swear like a motherfucker on this podcast because it's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's not all about work necessarily, but when I talk about my legacy, it's how do I help as many people as possible and still make more of an income, right? Yep. More of an income so I can do some of the things like you were talking about, like traveling. I love traveling. That would be something I'd love to put on this podcast. When I said we could do it from anywhere in the world, I'd love to do this podcast from fucking Costa Rica one day.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And then from Berlin another day. Like, that would be a lot of fun. Hey, Jordan, what'd you do in Berlin today? I drank beer. Cool. Hey, Jordan, what'd you do in Costa Rica today? I drank beer. Surprising. That sort of thing.
Yep.
But then it gets more into, okay, I've also got a wife now that not that I have to support her. She makes her own money. But I would love to make a whole fuck ton of money so that her life was as easy as possible. And that when we have kids, we can support them without having to count every dime, those sorts of things.
Yep.
It's a tough one. Work really does... Maybe it doesn't define you as a person. I don't view myself as just a personal trainer, but it is what allows me to do the things that I enjoy doing.
Absolutely. And I get that part of it for sure, because the thing for me with work is that, I have the luxury of leaving things fairly status quo in terms of staying at Husky and working here and knowing that I'll be comfortable.
Yeah.
And, I've always been good over the years at enjoying getting up and going to work every day, which not everybody can say. And it's not because my work is the greatest place on earth or I do deeply meaningful work, but I think for me, the comfort of leaving, knowing I did a good job and knowing that I'm comfortably set up for outside of work keeps me going in that department. Because there are days where I question, why am I doing this? Is this what I should have been doing? But the other side of life, which is what happens when I'm outside of work, means way more to me. And right now, I feel like I can focus on enjoying that more because I don't have to worry about my work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's stable. It's been stable for 11 years. So, that's been one area I've been nicely able to kind of tuck away. And I still have to work on it. And I've had different roles and I develop. But yeah, I understand, your legacy in that regard, I think has a bit more meaning because you do have the ability to help people. Whereas I don't necessarily view my work as helping anybody. I'm just performing a task.
It's not directly helping people where I'm one-on-one with them.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of helping, but mine is the type of helping that I'm constantly pushing to learn something new, explain something new, help someone out in a different way, help someone out more. It's just... sometimes it feels all-encompassing. Just every second of the day, for me, is developing me to be better at what I do. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Totally makes sense.
Glad we covered that. Okay, that's too deep. Let's move on to something more fun.
No
new
crying.
Music? Anything? New music?
New music?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question.
/ new podcasts.
So I have no new podcasts. I've actually just been listening to your podcast.
Oh, that's nice. Which one is that?
Real Fitness for Real People.
Well, what's that like?
I like it.
That's
So
good.
I do enjoy listening to your business side of things, and I think your podcast is professional. It explores topics that people actually care about, and I found it very interesting. So I've been listening to yours, and then in getting into yours, I'm getting back into the Minimalist podcast, which
Right.
has so many episodes. I could be listening to that for forever and I would never ever get caught up. But I like the messages of it. It's not all about downsizing stuff. It's just about living the kind of life that's important to me. So
Yeah.
those are really all I listen to be honest. A few times I'll listen to other things that Brad's listening to that are more news focused.
Right.
He just likes those. And there's actually quite a few that are interesting. I find the good thing about those, if you listen with someone, is that you can have some pretty good conversations about them afterwards.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But that's kind of it. What about you?
Well, it's just when you were saying that, I had a suggestion on the other podcast, Real Fitness for Real People, that said, can you keep the episodes a little shorter, like 15, 20 minutes, quick snips, so we can listen, get our information, and get out and do other things. Now, I find that funny, and I'm going to get your input on this, because all of the podcasts I listen to, I'm just looking at this, like I'm listening to one that I just finished yesterday, was 2 hours and 11 minutes. And then the one I was listening to today is an hour and 52 minutes. And then another one that I'm about to listen to, probably tomorrow, an hour and 21 minutes. I like that because I listen to them in the car, and I've got a 35 to 45 minute commute. So that's two ways. That's basically one podcast. Maybe start a new one when I'm cooking dinner, and then listen to it the next day, finish it up. So I like having hour and a half podcasts like we've been keeping this one, but is it worth doing shorter stuff as well? Like doing a quick 15-minute, here's some info, boom, gone.
I personally think I like somewhere between the 20 to 40 minute range.
And
so
is
I think 15 feels short for me.
Is that for a specific genre? Like, is that just the news ones, or you're saying that in general?
I think if you're going to discuss a particular topic. So in a way, I actually think your podcast, your Real Fitness for Real People, there's another plug for you.
Thank you.
Podcast probably would be better served in that area, because I know for me, if it is a specific topic, which you have tended to cover in one episode, a certain feeling or topic or idea or concept, whatever you're going to explore, I like to get in, get out, and I know you have a long commute, but for myself, if I have something going longer than 40 minutes, I'm usually breaking it up into multiple segments, and I prefer that in a podcast that changes segments over and over again. So, For example, ours, we talk about different things throughout. I wouldn't mind that running long because it breaks up the time. But I think for yours, that's not necessarily bad feedback.
Well, I'll have to try that. It's tough because I start talking and I look at the clock and it's like, oh, we're at 52 minutes. Oops.
That's a good sign that you have a lot to say on the topic. And I mean, none of your episodes to me felt long, but I think if you continue to do what you're doing, which is somewhat pick a topic or concept and focus on that and explore only that, I think for that medium, for the type of podcast that you're doing in your professional life, I think it's better. And then leave these for the longer, all over the place type vibe that we do and that people love us for.
Well, I'll have to give that a shot. We'll see if I can actually
do you notice how I just keep saying positive things about us so that hopefully people will believe them?
Oh, everybody believes it. Everybody loves us. I love us. Thus, everybody loves us.
See, it works. Keep going.
Love, love, love. Lovey, love, love, love. I'm trying to look at new music that's come out. I guess Justin Timberlake had a new album. I don't care. Franz Ferdinand has a new album. Don't really care anymore either. MGMT, don't care. Whew. Oh, Tyga. There we go. That's something we can talk about. Or not. Oh, you know what I was going to say? I was going to do a segment on what type of music is really annoying you right now. Yeah. And my answer was going to be Vance Joy.
Aww, even though I'm going to see him in concert tomorrow, and I'm
That's
so
great.
Excited.
The reason is because his songs get stuck in my head, but I don't know the words, and it's just this Saturday sun bullshit over and over and over. Oh my god.
Oh, that's funny. See, I get that. I mean, I've listened to his music so much, I can sing them all front to back, but I'm usually like that anyway. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm interested to see because he's doing a Saddle Dome concert tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's basically got 2 big albums, right? So I'm like, I'm going to hear every song I want to hear.
Very much. I've been to those concerts before where it's just, they've got 2 albums, so say 24 songs maybe, and they're playing 20 songs in their show. Huh.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Oh, 30 Seconds to Mars. Cool. Yeah, I just don't give a shit about new music is what I'm finding out.
I continue to find that I'm connecting less and less with new music. And
yeah.
I need to be careful about that because I think that's one of those things where I say you have to continue enjoying new music or you lose relevancy.
Yes.
It's not that I don't enjoy some of it. And I mean, it can be in any genre. I just, right now, have so little opportunity to be in a car where I often find new music. I'm not in a car as much. If I am, I mean, we have Sirius satellite radio, which you had. Do you still have that?
No, I got rid of it because, what the heck was it? I got rid of it because the Jason Ellis show that I was listening to, he got his own podcast. Michael Tully got his own podcast. And I listened to, it's called The Mad Scientist Party Hour, which I highly recommend for your potty humor. This guy, Kevin Kraft, which is one of the producers on the Jason Ellis show, that's his podcast with a couple of buddies, which is probably the one podcast that really made me want to do this one. Because it's just, fun times with your friends, chatting about movies, chatting about whatever the hell you feel like chatting about. And because I listened to all those shows, I just didn't need satellite to listen to one radio show anymore.
Yeah, I get that.
I think it was changing times too, and I wasn't going to get it on my commute, and it's not for me.
I find when we listen to satellite radio, there's a lot of older stations, so you can listen to 90s or 80s music or what have you, so I don't necessarily get new music from listening to those stations. And then, we have Bluetooth in the car, which I didn't have before. So now, we're connecting our Spotify and our Google Play accounts, which I tend to focus on music I already know.
Right.
So it's just this weird vibe where you don't get a ton of new music. And I think that happens, right? But I'll have to keep looking out for some new stuff. And
yeah, for me, satellite was making sure you didn't just listen to older stuff. You listen to... I listened to the metal station a lot, and those, they got rid of the punk station at one point, and I think they might have one back. But it was stuff like that where the stations come and go that pissed me off. Anyways, if you listen to those stations that will play new and old stuff, you will learn a lot of new music that excites you.
Well, that's a good idea.
But I like your point there. I like your point there. Don't stop listening to new music just because you like old music. Or older music, or music that's established in your mind. You've got to keep it fresh. Got to keep it separated.
Or else you'll be one of those 50-year-olds that is so out of touch with life, which a lot of people end up being. So
I think that's just being 50, except John.
Yeah, exactly.
The fucking guy's over 50 and just keeps finding new dance, reggae, mix shit. It's crazy.
Love and life.
Love and life. Speaking of... You have to go love work.
I do. I'm back to work.
It is time for that.
This was fun, and I think this was a great way to make this happen.
And I was thinking this is a better way to spend your lunchtime than actually eating lunch.
Well, that's the thing. Generally speaking, if I'm not taking a break, I'm probably sitting on my desk doing more work. So
touché.
This is a good way to use the time.
I'm going to get you one last thought. You need to brainstorm. I'm brainstorming. I've put one feeler out. I want a unique musical intro and outro for this podcast.
So not for right now while we're recording, but for just afterwards. Okay.
Someone, if you know anyone who plays music, especially, say, guitar, that we could easily digitize, We need something, because I'm not going to use band songs and deal with copyrights and all that.
Right. Okay.
There you go. That's out there for the listeners also. We need an intro and an outro. So play around.
Awesome.
Okay?
Okay.
Get back to work.
You. This was fun. All
this
right.
was fun. Until next time. Bye-bye.
On Imperfect Image.
Yeah, bye.